Tonight on The Local Live, a woman is charged with DWI after crashing her car into Enzo's Sunday night. Parking permits are now on sale community-wide. Maura Carlin sat down with Rhinex School superintendents on the budget. In tonight's roundtable, we speak to a local mompreneur ahead of Mother's Day. Good evening. It's Thursday, May 10th. I'm Alexandra Garcia, and welcome to The Local Live. A Yonkers woman crashed her car into Enzo's Sunday around 7:45 p.m. while reversing out of a parking space on Mamaroneck Avenue. She hit two other cars and injured 9 people inside the restaurant, including 4 critically injured. Police arrested Roseanne Casano, age 79, and charged her with driving while intoxicated. She told them she had 2 drinks at Enzo's before the crash. This morning, Casano pleaded not guilty in Mamaroneck Village Court. A representative for Enzo's declined to comment for this report. We have some updates on the events of April 28th that led to the death of 2-year-old Gabriella Boyd. Mamaroneck Village Police allege that her mother, 28-year-old Cynthia Arce, attacked them as they attempted to aid the child at the Chestnut Avenue home of her grandmother, Maria Solorzano. Arce is charged with 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder of a police officer. She is due in Mamaroneck Village Court on May 17th. She missed a May 3rd court date as she was recovering from injuries sustained when police shot her on April 28th. According to LOHUD, Martin Rosen, lawyer of Stephen Boyd, the father of the child, alleges that Arce has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, has a history of substance abuse, and has made several attempts to kill herself. Rosen said Boyd received a court order on April 27th granting him sole custody of the child after Arce called him and suggested she could harm herself. Days earlier, Arce had been kicked out of her mother's home on Chestnut Avenue and had not taken the child with her. When police attempted to serve the court order on April 27th, they had the door closed on them. Also in a LOHUD report, Arce's lawyer, Richard Portale, said his client told police the custody issue would be handled the following day. As of yesterday, a GoFundMe page to aid the family has reached almost twice its $10,000 goal. Boyd is setting up a nonprofit memorial foundation in his daughter's name, and there will be a fundraiser in July. The child was laid to rest last week. General parking permits for the village of Mamaroneck are now on sale. The permit applies for Hunter Spencer, Prospect, and Johnson parking lots. The village offers daytime-only permits, nighttime-only permits, or a permit for a higher price for both times. Eligibility for permits are for residents or for business owners and their employees within the limits of the village of Mamaroneck and covers parking from June 1st, 2018 till May 31st of 2019. Get your parking permit at the Village Clerk Treasurer's Office at 123 Mamaroneck Avenue from 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, or visit the Village of Mamaroneck's official website. For Town of Mamaroneck parking permits, sales will start on May 21st at the Town Clerk's Office at 740 West Boston Post Road. And for Larchmont, visit villageoflarchmont.org. On Saturday, May 12th, Playland Park opens for its 90th year. Prices for season passes and tickets are on Playland's website. On opening day, admission is only $15. This is a one-day offer, so get your tickets today. Mother's Day is this Sunday, May 13th. Tonight, Maura Carlin sits down with a local mompreneur in our roundtable.
Welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Maura Carlin, and as you heard and probably know, Sunday is Mother's Day. So we're featuring a mom who started her own business. Welcome Hema Nambiar, who's the founder of 13-1 Outerwear.
Correct. Hi,
Thanks,
Maura.
Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us what prompted you to start a business in the first place? And then we'll talk about 13-1.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. Well, I had a small accessories business. I made scarves from home, and then I found out about a program called the Goldman Sachs Tory Burch 10,000 Small Business Program, and I decided to apply for it. And 6 months later, I found out that I had been accepted. And what that entailed was going to LaGuardia College for 5 months, once a week. And basically, the program gave you the tools to sustain a small business. So they taught you about marketing, accounting, social media, all the things that you need to make your business sustain and grow. And that's where I created the line of jackets that you see behind me, as well as the dog jackets here in the front.
So tell us about what is 13-1.
So 13-1 comes from the name of a half a marathon. It's the number of miles in half a marathon. So I did a few of those, and I was introduced to the technology, the space technology, when I was wrapped in a heat sheet at the end of the race. And you see behind me, it's the silver lining in every product that we create.
And what is special about that lining?
The uniqueness is it retains 90% of your body heat. So as you start moving, your body heats up. Our outerwear will retain 90% of it.
Now, you started this business 2 years ago.
Yes.
While you were in the middle of raising a family. Mm-hmm. Why was the timing right then?
The timing is never right, but when you have kids, because even when they go to college, they need you. So we have a son in third year college, a senior at high school, and a junior in high school. And so being an entrepreneur gives me the flexibility to weave in between their schedule and still work at the business.
What's been the hardest thing about trying to start a new business?
Let's see, there's a lot of things. Being flexible is the positive thing, but having funding or getting funding is very, very difficult for a new entrepreneur. I was home for 19 years, and so I didn't have a credit history. So one day I decided to walk down to our local bank, and happy as a bee, I filled out all the application. And now with the technology, they can tell you when you apply, if you get accepted or not. And I was rejected. And
were you shocked?
I was devastated. I came home and I felt like I didn't exist. And it never even occurred to me that I didn't have a credit history. So just remember, build up your credit. It's very, very important. Being an entrepreneur is to get that first loan or someone to believe in you.
Okay. I've now forgotten my question, which doesn't. In terms of how much time you spend on a given day, take us through a day of work.
Okay, so I wake up at 6:30, get the kids out of the house by 7:15, 7:20. I try to go to the gym
Don't we
3
all
times
try?
a week, but lately I have a pile of emails that need to be, answered to. And so from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I am working on my business. Then I pick up the kids and then cook, soccer, baseball, and I'm done. And then at 8 o'clock, I sit down again and I work on my social media. But that's the time that I spend with my husband as well. So that there's been that pull where he wants me to shut down, but it's the only time that I can apply to increase my followers, and update some photos or post some photos.
So even with the flexibility from having your own business, you're still having problems with the timing and the scheduling.
Yeah, there's just not enough hours in the day. There's just so many things to do. And because I'm a solo entrepreneur, I do the marketing, I do the creating, I do, all the reading too. You have to keep up with what's going on. So it's a lot.
In terms of the design, did you design it?
Yes.
Those are your designs?
Yes.
And you had to then find a source for manufacturing and for the fabric? Was that all part of what you had to do?
So I had the fabric. And then I found one day I went to 39th Street and I needed somebody to create my designs into an actual product. So I must have knocked on 30 doors before one of the design makers took me in and said, yes, I can work with this fabric. And so she built my prototypes. I spent a lot of money on those, but it was worth it. And then I tried to get people to make them here in the United States because I really wanted to keep it. And the price was just not working. And then the supplier of the fabric said, why don't we do this? We have some manufacturers overseas. Why don't we help you find manufacturers? And they did that, and it's been wonderful. They do everything for me, from supplying the fabric to making it and getting it shipped.
But you had to learn the whole distribution chain.
I did.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to learn a little more about pros, cons, and lessons you've learned in becoming a mompreneur. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you know how to request our services? Just go to lmctv.org. Under the service banner, click Forms. In our Forms section, you can apply to be a volunteer, learn about membership, learn about corporate underwriting, request a bulletin board, coverage, DVD dubs, equipment, and PSAs.
It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
Welcome back. We're talking to mompreneur Hema Nambiar of 13-1 Outerwear. Thanks for joining us again. Let's talk about advice for future mompreneurs, which is a term that you like. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. Because I'm a mom and I'm an entrepreneur and I own it.
So you must have learned a lot of lessons in doing this. I know you mentioned about having a credit history or maintaining a credit history. But in starting a business, can you give us some advice about things to do or not to do?
Yes. Start small. Don't be afraid. And accept that you're going to fail. And
let's break them down and take all three of those.
Failing is an opportunity to learn. Now, I didn't know anything about designing clothes or having my own shop, so I've had to fall and get back up. And there's been days where, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of downs more than ups. But when that up is there, it makes you, keep going. It gives you hope. It makes your day. And so I just say, keep at it.
Have you had a mentor, and do you think one should look for a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. Without mentors, you need a sounding board, right? Because there's so many questions. And yes, I rely on Google 80% of the time, but there's sometimes when you just need a voice. And so from Goldman Sachs, Tory Burch, I have my classmates, 30, who graduated with me. I also have the group Alley to Valley, who are professional women in the city. They formed a group, and it's all professional women who help one another. And then just my friends. Larchmont has abundance amount of women who are brilliant. And so I just have to call a few of my friends, and they'll advise me whether it's in law or accounting or social media or marketing, or just, if I'm having a bad day, they listen.
Do you find that one could start a business while they still have another full-time job?
No.
You wouldn't recommend that?
No. It's just too much. There's not enough time in the day, and one would be hurting the other, right? If you have a full-time job, and unless it's a fixed hour, 9 to 5, and you can address, from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, yes. But if your first job is not flexible, no way.
You started this when your kids were teenagers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's something, would you recommend it for someone with younger children to start their own business?
Younger than teenagers?
Yes.
It all depends on the family dynamic. If the husband has a flexible, career where he can jump on the train and come back home when you need to go to a meeting or you have something to do, then yes. But if he is traveling, if he is working long hours, then it's very hard. It's very difficult.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh, no, not at all. I am having the best time of my life. I'm learning with my children.
Are they involved in the business?
They're not involved, but it's very interesting. They'll ask me questions, out of the blue. Hey, Mom, how was your day today? Hey, Mom, that call you had, did anything come out of it? And so now they know what bootstrapping is, they know what equities are, they know what VCs are. So yeah, they're learning with me, which is great.
Do you think any of them will want to join you? Or do you want them to?
Well, you know what? If they did want to join me, it would mean that the company's doing really well, right?
Right.
So we can only hope.
Why don't you give everyone your website? I know you're running a Mother's Day special, so let's get that information out there before we have to wrap.
So anyone who doesn't have a gift yet lined up for their special mom, we're running a 15% discount right now, and the website is www.13-one.com. and there'll be 15% off our doggy jackets as well as our jackets. And they come in 3 styles.
Why don't you tell us about the styles while we're at it?
So the one the mannequin's wearing is a full zip, and it has a little dip at the back, which is a sporty look. And then we have a pullover, which is a very sporty look that teenagers and college students love. And then we have a trench for women, which is a little longer, and it's a straight cut. Great for, all 3 jackets are great for travel. They weigh less than 1 pound. They're warm. They look pretty good.
When you say warm, what's the coldest you could wear them in?
Well, last week we got photos from our customer who went to the Mount Everest base, and she climbed 17,000 feet, so that is the highest it's been.
Okay, so that's pretty cold. Thank you for joining us. Hema Nambiar, 13-1.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much, and you too.
I'm a reporter, I'm a producer, I'm a writer.
I am a news anchor. I am a producer.
I am a news editor.
I am the technical director.
I am a reporter. I am an anchor.
I volunteer for the local Live because I'm a proud resident of Larchmont and Mamaroneck, and I like to give back to the community.
I volunteer for the local Live because I believe in bringing the news into your living room.
I volunteer for the local Live because I believe in leadership, support, and success in a community.
I volunteer at the local Live because it's a fun learning experience, and I know each week I come, I can learn something new.
I volunteer for the local Live because I believe in community television.
As a spring intern at the local Live, I learned new skills like video, editing, and production, and furthered my skills as a writer. The internship gave me confidence as I embarked on my journey through the world of journalism.
We are the local Live.
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 The Rhinebeck School District has a $41 million budget up for public vote on Tuesday, May 15th. Maura Carlin sat down with Rhinebeck School Superintendent Dr. Barbara Ferraro and Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Dr. Kimberly Bucci, for more.
It's school budget season, and we're talking about the Rhinebeck proposed school budget. I'm joined by Dr. Barbara Ferraro, who's the Rhinebeck School Superintendent, and Dr. Kimberly Bucci, who is the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance. Thank you for joining us. May 15th is the day to vote on this budget. It's a $41 million budget, thereabouts. Why should the community support it this year?
Thank you for asking. We're very proud of the budget that we're presenting to our community this year. The budget is tax cap compliant for the 7th consecutive year, so we're happy to offer that to our community, and it preserves our programs here in the district. Things like favorable class size, the STEAM initiatives that we have in place, the arts and music and extracurricular programs that are important to students at Rhinebeck, and we're happy to be able to focus on that. In addition, we've looked at our safety and security measures, which are really important to our parents right now, and as we continue to enhance those programs, built into this budget are some other advancements, in particular to have some full-time monitors at each of our elementary schools, which right now, that's a change for us. Right now we have part-time, so we're expanding that to our elementary schools.
So you're going from a part-time security to a full-time security at each school?
Correct.
Are there other changes we should know about?
In the whole budget?
In the whole budget, yes.
In the whole budget. Adding some teaching assistants. You'll see that in our staffing.
And that's for special education?
Primarily, yes, primarily. That's what that's for. And as our enrollment has remained rather stable, but we're seeing the increase now at our middle high school campus. For those of you who are not familiar with Rhinebeck, we have our 6th grade through our 12th grade on one campus. We operate as 2 separate schools in one building. The bump in enrollment right now is coming to that campus, so some of the changes that are going to be seen are increased staff, moving of staff around from elementary schools to the middle school to accommodate the students there.
And that's where you're going to be doing the additions?
Absolutely.
It was approved in February.
Absolutely. So our capital project, and we're excited about that. And as we talk about our STEAM initiatives, this wing will support those initiatives.
And this budget includes some of the debt financing for it, payments on that, they begin?
Yes, it does. So with the community support in February of the $27.6 million bond, we'll be looking to do some of the borrowing to fund some of the building that's going to be taking place over the next year, and this budget includes the debt service for that. So that's the principal and interest that's due. So in this budget, we're phasing in $300,000 in the form of debt service.
Now, I noticed that the increase in this budget over last year's budget was roughly 1.2 million.
Correct.
And the increase in tax revenue is roughly 1.1 million. I mean, very close. Is that just a coincidence, or?
It's just a coincidence, and what it's saying is that we're increasing the spending 1.2 million. 1.1 of that it can come from from the tax levy. So our maximum allowable tax levy cap this year is 3.11. So just to put that in perspective, the last 3 years we've been way under the what's known as the 2% tax cap, with a 0.33 and a 0.72 the last 3 years. This year, as a direct result of what you just brought up, the debt service, that goes into our formula, and so the state allows us to go up to 3.11 this year when we calculate the formula.
I know this may be an aside, but there was something I found very interesting in your presentation, which is that we've talked about hiring some new people and increasing some programming, but your funding for salaries has gone down, and I'm just curious how that worked.
So the slide that you're talking about, it's where we sort of recap, budget to budget changes, and some of the major areas. And you highlighted that our overall salaries are decreasing by 100,000. It's very unusual. We benefited from some attrition, some retirements. We also had some labor settlements that are really, all of the labor units are pretty much under 1%. And in some instances, we've frozen steps. So what we're seeing is a combination of factors: attrition, some open positions, savings on hirings through retirements, and also labor contracts that are really sensitive to the financial climate.
So what are the biggest chunks of the budget going towards, and are they basically fixed?
They are. 75% of the budget is, salaries and benefits, and the main increases this year that we're seeing are the aforementioned, debt service. That's about 300,000 of that 1.2 million increase. We had a 400,000 in salaries, the pension benefits that we pay to the teachers' retirement system. So that contribution rate went up slightly. And the other change that we're seeing this year has to do with an increase in special ed costs. We're getting students that are coming in and they're requiring outside placements, or they're requiring additional services. And so it's really those main areas that we're seeing the increases this year.
So are there new students moving in that are requiring outside placements, or are you finding that maybe that you're sending them out, that the service that you need to provide the services in a different environment?
It can be both. So it's hard to predict that, as you know, who's going to move in over the summer. So we're planning for that, and really based upon past history, we've kind of looked at the last 2 years, tried to anticipate what we might need moving forward this school year.
So what I'm asking is there an expansion in the special education services that are being offered in Rhinebeck?
Not particularly. We still
offer
more
students.
More students. Exactly. We have special classes for students, we have resource rooms, we have related services. All of those are available to students at Rhinebeck. As you get more students, you expand upon that. And sometimes, if their students are a little more involved, perhaps they have to leave Rhinebeck and attend a program out of district. And just looking at that, we've had some move-ins over the last couple of years that require an out-of-district placement. So built within that budget, we're planning for that.
Are there specific programming changes that you'd like to highlight for us?
Well, I don't know if they're particularly changes, but we started an initiative this past school year that's expanding, and we have a new approach to teaching reading and writing in our elementary schools. It's not a new term, but it's a new approach for us. It's called the Balanced Literacy Program, and we did the Readers Workshop this year. We're moving to the Writers Workshop as we move through next year. It's an initiative K through 5. The teachers have been excited about it. The students are certainly excited about it. And just yesterday, when I was visiting our schools, our Daniel Warren schools, the K1-2 school, and our Effie Bellows is our 3-4-5 school. So I was able to see the excitement that the children have about reading and wanting to share. So some nice things, a lot of enthusiasm over the program. So we're happy with this approach, and that will be expanded next year. So that was a new initiative for us. And we always, I highlighted at the beginning STEAM and STEM programs. One of the reasons.
What kinds of programs do you have?
Certainly.
The robotics.
Yes,
we
exactly.
can't even offer enough sections. The interest is so high.
The robotics and engineering, exactly, and we had to keep pushing it down. And one of the reasons we went out to our community is that we see how it's growing. Last year we had to hire additional staff in order to accommodate that. We're able to accommodate this year what we need, and our problem is space. So that was part of our capital project and moving in that direction, and how the community, we had a facilities committee work with us, and they looked at priorities and saw that the priority was at the middle high school campus now for STEAM initiatives, things like robotics and digital arts, all blended together, engineering classes, and then the regular pure science classes that we're all familiar with, but taking it from beginning levels to very advanced levels and college level courses and experiences for students. So those are some of the new initiatives in our next year in our Daniel Warren School. And that, I smile when I say that. It's our K-1 school, and it's just really a happy place to be. So whenever I visit that, I come out way with a big smile. But the teacher was able to carve out some space, and she's called, pardon me, the principal, and she's calling it the Wonder Studio. So it's really for creativity and inquiry, and it's a joy to see that being built. So you'll see some of that happening. Yeah.
Last question, believe it or not.
Sure.
What do you see as the most important thing, and it's a little less budgety, but most important thing that you can provide students as you prepare them for life in the 21st century?
Well, what we always like to say is that we give our students a well-rounded experience. And what that means, I've talked about it at board meetings, and it's tied to the budget in a way, because we look at, I kind of say it's mind and body and spirit. So if I kind of pull that apart, make sure that we have health and wellness programs for our children, and do we have a full-blown physical education, health, athletics, sports program for our kids? Mind. Do we offer a range of courses for all kids in all areas? Every child has talent. Do we have the kinds of programs that tap those individual talents? And spirit. We look at social emotional learning and the kinds of inner core resources we have to give our kids so that they can move forward. So in a simple way, I kind of say mind, body, spirit, but what it means is looking at the whole child. And one thing I'm really proud of in Rhinebeck is we talk about it as personalizing the environment for the children. So again, different kids, different programs, nothing cookie cutter. It can change, and it's very individualized to meet the needs of kids.
Great. And we'll remind everyone that the budget vote is May 15th. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Barbara Ferraro, Dr. Kimberly Bucci. I'm having trouble with Kimberly. Sorry. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
A team of Larchmont teens are the New York State winners of the National Collaborative Summer Library Program 2018 Teen Video Challenge. With the guidance and expertise of LMC TV and their staff, the teens earned a $50 award for the Larchmont Public Library and a $100 prize for themselves. The contest involves creating a video promoting summer reading at their local public library and incorporating the Collaborative's 2018 slogan, Libraries Rock. Congratulations to James C., Maria H., Demetrios H., Maddie K., Tess L., Marcus L., Sophie T., and Mark Y., this year's New York State winners. You can watch the video at larchmontlibrary.org/teens. And now Nick Gutierrez gives us this week's varsity sports highlights.
Welcome back to the Local Live. I'm Nick Gutierrez. This past week, we had a classic on our hands as the Rhinebeck softball team played the Mamaroneck Tigers. The build-up to this local rivalry game was tense, and the game that transpired was even better. Rhinebeck got started early as we picked things up in the bottom of the third. Jessica Santoli gets things started with a nice base hit into left field that put the Panthers up 1-0. Next in the lineup, Sam Yanuzzi with a full count hits an absolute dinger past the left field fence to bring in 3 runs for the Panthers. Top of the fourth, down 4-2, Jordan Pryor hit one to the opposite field for a 2 RBI double, which tied the game at 4 runs apiece. The Tigers would add 2 more in the inning to go up 6-4. Bottom of the fourth, Stephanie Santoli loaded up and hit the ball to right field, which buys Carissa Peccia just enough time to slide for home and make the game 6-5. Top of the seventh, Tava Casper bombs one down the left field line to bring in a run for the Tigers. 8-5 is the final score. The Panthers started well but fizzled out in the fourth as the Tigers took control and never looked back. The Panthers' impressive 12-1 record takes a hit as they fall to 12-2, while the Tigers move up to 8-4. Meanwhile, the next day, the Rye-Neck baseball team was locked in a tight battle with Haldane. Bottom of the sixth, game tied at 2, Jack Sheldon crushes a fastball deep into center field that had potential for a home run, but fell just short of the fence. Brian Scott came all the way home from first as Sheldon got a triple RBI for the Panthers. That hit sparked a 5-run rally for the Panthers, who won the game 7-2 and was also selected as the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week. At this moment, LMC Varsity Sports would like to take a look back at other great plays from throughout the year. Here are the nominees for the 2018 Play of the Year. Lamas to DeChico tally the score. Light scores for the late lead. Goldstein's 2-run shot. And lastly, De Silva's header of gold.
Improvises, puts it towards the goal, it's up in the air, it's free, and it's goal!
Fans can cast their votes daily through May 18th at lmctv.org/sports. For the Local Live, I'm Nick Gutierrez.
In other sad news, Mamaroneck resident Rabbi Aaron Pankin, the president of the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, died when the plane he was piloting crashed on Saturday, May 5th. The plane crashed shortly after taking off from Randall Airport in Middletown, New York. Pankin was the 12th president in the 143-year seminary and was known as a dedicated teacher and distinguished scholar. He was 53 years old.
Is your teen interested in film? Then LMC TV's workshop is just for them. Teens write, act, direct, and edit their own films. It's a full filmmaking experience you won't get anywhere else. Our workshop has limited space, so sign your teen up today for a fun, enriching experience. LMC TV, where creativity and community come together.
And here's Jupiter Joe with his latest installment of Meteor Minute.
Welcome back to another installment of Meteor Minute with Jupiter Joe on the Local Live. 2018 is bringing us a full year of astronomy events that will span from eclipses and meteor showers to rocket launches and new space missions. So let's give you a quick cosmic rundown for the month of May. We started the month off with a brand new mission to Mars called the InSight lander, which, after a 2-year delay due to failed hardware, has finally launched on May 5th. InSight is well on its way to Mars and is set to land on November 26, 2018. This mission is tasked with deploying tools to measure Mars quakes, as well as a temperature instrument that will bore a deep hole inside of Mars, testing how temperature escapes from Mars. These are just 2 of the instruments that will be used, but combined, they'll be able to tell us a lot of information about how planets are formed. For more information, visit mars.nasa.gov/insight. As if May 5th wasn't exciting enough, I found myself at the world-famous Explorers Club in New York City, where I interviewed astrobiologist and author David Grinspoon about a new collaborative book between himself and the principal investigator of the New Horizons mission, Alan Stern. The book, entitled Chasing New Horizons, details the story about the epic first mission to Pluto. I asked David to elaborate on the background of the book, as it was one of the most interesting and challenging stories I've heard about a space-related mission. Here's what David said.
This team, Alan and some of his colleagues, got this idea in 1989 that they wanted to send a mission to Pluto when they were quite young and maybe a little naive. Thought it would be easier than it was, which is a good thing they didn't know what was in store, because there were so many twists and turns and setbacks and doors slammed in their faces, and yet they didn't give up. They didn't take no for an answer. And then many years later, New Horizons was actually approved as a mission. And then there were further cancellations and setbacks and all these very challenging technical problems. Finally launched in 2006. Made it to Pluto 9 years later, 2015. A lot of tricky moments along the way. And I've just always thought it's a great story. And I always thought, God, somebody's going to write a book about this someday, because it's an amazing story. Not just the exploration itself, but the backstory, how something like this goes from a dream to an actual mission. So then when I got the opportunity to co-author this book with Alan Stern, the principal investigator of the New Horizons mission, to me that was just a dream, because I love to tell stories of space exploration, and this is really, I think, you know, as the title says, the epic space exploration story of our time. And working with Alan, we were really able to dig into the details and tell you the backstory, the aspects of space exploration that you don't always hear about,
Sure.
and the human experience, in addition to the technical details of how this really comes together and what it's like for the people.
This just scratches the surface of the interview. So to watch the entire interview, visit us at www.meteorminute.org. And remember, visit your local bookstore for your copy of Chasing New Horizons. Well, that's it for this month's installment of Meteor Minute. Be sure to catch us next month when we follow up on the scale of the solar system. For those that are interested in joining us for our next monthly observing session, visit us at www.meteorminute.org. Now stay tuned for more on the Local Live.
Help us complete our studio mural. You can stop by our studio in the Mamaroneck Town Center or make a contribution online at lmctv.org and click on the donate button. Each piece purchased is a $200 donation to LMCTV to update equipment and better serve the community's needs. Donating today will help us keep up with technology and complete this beautiful work of art. It's time for Pet of the Week, provided by Pet Rescue. Panda does not love the camera, but she sure gets along with other cats and dogs. This 2-year-old cat likes to stare at windows and snuggle up for pats. She enjoys hanging out with her best friend, Tommy the cat, but would prefer to hang out with you. Caution, cuteness ahead. Pet Rescue has puppies. There are 3 lab mixed puppies available in black, white, and black and white. There are 2 females and 1 male. These pups are only a few months old and do not have names. Why not adopt one and name it yourself? For more information on Panda or the puppies, please visit ny-petrescue.org. We're always looking for new volunteers and interns to help produce the newscast, and we love hearing from our viewers. Email comments and inquiries to the Local Live at lmctv.org. Don't forget to vote on the Mamaroneck or Rhinebeck school budget on Tuesday, May 15th. We would also like to wish all mothers a happy Mother's Day this Sunday. Thank you for watching the Local Live. I'm Alexandra Garcia, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.